Obviously, the IonQ management team is trying to give away as much stock as they can, as fast as they can. I don't know what's going on with QUBT, but just a misread into what that business is. I did a lot more work on INMB as well. The problem is you can fake it till you make it by printing stock to buy like Bitcoin or printing stock to buy S&P 500, but they're printing stock to buy more quantum stuff, which isn't going to help them. I think short INMB. I should do an INMB debate today too. I don't know if it's less than 1%. Might be as much as 5%. I'm not sure. No, I'm out of fat. I'm also out of Circle, unfortunately. I don't know why I ever sold it. No, I was going to go to the, it's not painful at all, Mike. I was going to go to the, I'm the same as Friday. I was going to go over to the office, but my commute wasn't going to make it to the time of the podcast. I'm not sure when to get out of Sarepta. 70 maybe? 70, 80, 100, that type of territory. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Like, look, the thing about quantum is that if you try to actually understand it, you learn that it's one of the most fascinating things in any STEM science, any part, you touch any part of science, it's one of the most fascinating things in the world. That's why I fell in love with it as a kid. And people have been promising quantum computers for 27 years. We're not much closer. We've come a long way, but it's probably a 100-year journey. Every bull market brings out people trying to scam. So yeah, I think that you have to think through kind of like what it is that quantum does instead of just like thinking, oh, it's, this new thing. Yeah, it's a new thing. It's a cool word. George Soros used it as his word for his hedge funds, famous hedge fund, quantum. But what is a word? You have to actually think about it and get into it. And if you do that, you'll learn a lot about computing. You'll learn a lot about quantum, and don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it yourself. Don't take anybody's word for it. Why would you take some CEO's word for it? Actually spend a little bit of time with ChatGPT. You could do it now very quickly and say, what is quantum entanglement? If it explains it to you and you don't understand it, say, dumb it down a little bit. And anybody with a high school education can understand exactly what I'm talking about, why quantum doesn't work. You cannot put bandwidth into quantum. That's the number one thing that I think people don't understand, is that to set up a quantum circuit, it takes time, it's intricate. Just compiling it, you cannot just quickly run the circuit over and over again. It's one of these things that's really, pretty clear. So again, the folks that want to gamble, they're going to gamble, but it's just the PR stuff is pretty funny. Yeah, the scalability is another question altogether. I bet you he's getting paid somewhere, to be honest. I don't know what company or whatever, but I don't think it's an accident. The IonQ guys, there's something there. I don't know what it is, but obviously there's something there. No, Oxford has the second highest, according to IonQ's founder, Chris Monroe. Oxford has the second highest gate fidelity. Go make an H100 then. Quantum AI, holy, that was his final trump card. He's like, all right, I'm losing. What do I got here? Pharma spends $100 million on compute. That's not a big market. You know what? AI. I like when he said quantum hardware is a dud. Like, do you know what you're saying, bro? What is there other than quantum hardware? I'm not quitting. So then tell me an algorithm. I can't do it with you. I'm done. Oh, so you quit. What'd you guys think of the organic revenue part? That was pretty wild. It's normal to buy and grow your business. Yes, it is, of course. But it's not normal to buy and grow and then pretend that your actual revenue is growing. It'll all go down. Don't worry about it. You guys are so focused on the day-to-day ticks. That's not what I'm worried about. Nike doesn't make shoes. It's a footwear stack. Hardware. Look, hard. Nvidia makes one too. It's hardware. Software is code you write. It's like... You guys want to watch it again? That'd be fun, right? You want to watch it again? Hope somebody records it.
I think it's like a similar mentality where like even in the early internet's days, like internet was dismissed in the early days in like the mid 90s because nobody was able to monetize a web page, for example.
This is my favorite argument that the quantum bulls sometimes will come up with is because one good thing happened this one time, it will happen to us as well. Okay, 3D printing, why didn't that work? Why wasn't that like the internet? CRISPR, why wasn't that like antibodies? Gene therapy, why wasn't that like antibodies? Antisense, why wasn't that like antibodies? The false equivalency is unbelievable. The internet worked out. Yes, GPUs worked out. That does not mean your thing will work out. It has nothing to do with it. Because it's not working now, it may work out in the future. So the miracle of the internet gives you hope that maybe it'll work out too?
Even GPUs were kind of dismissed like a decade or so ago because nobody can imagine a consumer.
But this is what gets people like Alejandro excited. They hear, oh man, people dismissed Nvidia at the start, but it became this massive thing. And people are dismissing this thing at the start. It's going to become this massive thing. And it sounds like humans are like very analogous. We're analogical machines. Like we really like to see those kinds of patterns. But you have to betray your human instinct sometimes and be critical. Of course you want the analogy to make sense. Investors are notorious with that. Oh, he worked at 0.72, so his new hedge fund's going to be great. Yes, there's some relevance here, but the internet was great, so quantum computing's going to be great? What?
That kind of scale compute on their devices. So I do think the question that matters right now is a little different than their duds, because today's reality, people might have a difficult time actually understanding why we need quantum computing, because it's not really hitting that wall today.
I was laughing at this part because when he said people have a hard time understanding why people would need quantum computing, I immediately, my head thought said, yes, you are having the hard time, my friend.
People might have a difficult time actually understanding why we need quantum computing, because it's...
This is when I knew he had no clue. Classical compute is hitting walls. Yes, possibly, depending on who you talk to. Maybe just for AI. But do you think that, do you think that quantum can fix that? I mean, like this is the fraud playbook. You take things that have nothing to do with your argument and you import them in. Ooh, AI. Ooh, the internet. Well, explain how it's going to help. There are no real dudes who like quantum. That's the point I'm making, is that I'm begging people to debate this. There are no bulls. Why wouldn't Google and OpenAI and Microsoft be saying, oh, this is going to solve our problem? None of them are saying that. Wouldn't XAI do a partnership with Quantum? Oh, it's the bandwidth. It takes 2 seconds to figure this out. I mean, okay, let me explain this so anybody can understand it. I don't care if you're a quantum physicist or not. I'm certainly not. This is your computer, okay? CPU. Got it? It can be a QPU. It doesn't matter. This is your data. In fact, it's often drawn like this. I don't know if you guys have seen this before, but it kind of looks like that. This is your data. This is called a bus sometimes, but it doesn't matter what you call it. You have to get the data over here. This is 200 gigabits a second on some hard drives. For IonQ, it is 0.001 gigabits a second. So you cannot do the AI workload. You can't do the AI workload that's being asked of you because you have to push it over the fabric. And in fact, if you know anybody who uses GPUs, the fabric is often the main limiter is that you have something called RAM here, this ultra fast disk. There is no such thing as quantum RAM. It doesn't exist. There's a bus here too, by the way. So how are you going to use this for AI? AI is a big data problem. You push in a lot of data and you update these parameters. You guys know what a neural network looks like? Here are the parameters of a neural network. There's more parameters here. This is the second layer. There's more parameters here. This is the third layer. And it continues onward, 50 or so layers, billions of parameters, maybe even trillions. You have to put that data into RAM, do the calculation, and update the weights. That's what AI is. You cannot put this data in because they're ions. We don't know how to put the data in. And oh, by the way, how many of them are there? Well, right now, IonQ is a 34 qubit computer. 34 qubits. What can you do with 34 qubits? Let's see. Can we put a name in somebody? Can we put somebody's name in 34 qubits? Let's see. Let's see. 2 to the 5th is 32. That's enough for the alphabet, right? That's just enough for the alphabet, right? So we've got ion 1. So how do we do Martin? M-A-R-T-I-N. We can fit Martin. Look at this, 30. So there's 6 letters in Martin, and we need 5 bits a letter. This is the computer that's worth $10 billion? Okay, so this would be, we're going to do 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 is A. Okay, so I need 5 qubits for M, 5 qubits for A, 5 qubits for R. I should do Shay's name because it's so much smaller. You'd actually maybe have room for computation. Martin. Okay, and then I have 2 qubits left. Do you understand? Like, this is the current state of the art for IonQ. They literally have 32 qubits. This is 5 times 6, right? This is what we're talking about. Literally, this is what we're talking about. M-A-R. How is this supposed to change the world? How is this supposed to help AI? Martin. That is literally what we can fit in an IonQ computer. I mean, how do you get simpler than a bit? How do you compress it simpler than this? This is about as compressed as it gets. You know how to compress a bit into less information? God bless you. So now we have 2 qubits left. What are we going to do with these qubits? We could maybe use this instruction to copy, but where are we copying it to? There's no QRAM. It doesn't exist. This is why for Shors you need 3n qubits. One atom can contain a lot of data, but you can't use it. You want to use amplitude, phase? Shors you can set up the circuit, but my point is the data, putting the data in, is going to be subject to this bandwidth and subject to the number of qubits you have. So just like spend a little time thinking about computing, thinking about this stuff, runtime, run a program on IBM's Quantum. It's $10. They actually give you 10 minutes a month for free. Let's keep listening. My question for Shai is, how exactly do you think quantum can help next generation computing?
Well, I mean, we can also stick with like just biotech today, for example. I think biotech, that would be a great concept.
No, I'm talking about quantum.
I'm saying, I think quantum, like biotech is heavily targeting quantum right now.
What?
Like, yeah.
Yeah?
They're signing 7 or 8 figure deals already right now.
With who?
IonQ specifically.
I don't know if you know this, but I'm the pharma bro. I don't know if you know. I started billion-dollar drug companies. Drugs and quantum have nothing to do with each other.
Look at the storyline.
Martin,
they have nothing to do with each other.
No, there's a storyline today about 20 times the speed up in drug discovery.
No experts believe this. None. If you talk to none,
we can't find one.
None.
I mean,
if you talk, let me finish.
True.
If you talk, no, it is true. Talk to anybody in pharma. Do you know anyone in pharma? Talk to Pfizer, Merck, J&J, Roche Chemist. Ask them if they need quantum computing. They don't.
AstraZeneca does.
No, they don't. I know the CEO of AstraZeneca. They don't need quantum computing. They don't want a quantum computing. They do these deals. Shai, you're confused. You're being tricked by a bunch of fraudsters. And again, I went to prison for fraud, and I'm telling you this.
So they're wasting $100 million. They're
not wasting no pharma company spending $100 million. Yes,
that's why I think
quantum computing is a dud.
No, the hardware.
That's what quantum computing is.
No, but I think it's going to be much more like a GPU space where, like, if you're just a GPU provider, hardware company, you're kind of a dud in this reality.
Nvidia? Listen again. Our core quantum business is not growing. It's not showing any promise. We have to grow. We have to buy this other stuff, like a space constellation that has nothing to do with quantum.
I do think Niccolo sees that the quantum hardware game is one that's going to be a dud.
Yes,
that's why I think
quantum computing is a dud.
No, the hardware.
That's what quantum computing is.
No, but I think it's going to be much more like a GPU space where, like, if you're just a GPU provider, hardware company, you're kind of a dud in this reality.
Nvidia?
No, Nvidia's not a hardware company.
Nvidia makes the box. I can show you one of them. I mean,
no. Do you think it's a hardware company?
Nvidia is a hardware company. They literally make a machine that you buy.
You lost me because they're absolutely not. They're not a hardware company.
Nvidia makes a box, like you don't know a physical box that's processed.
You sealed my argument. They're not a hardware company at all. They're CUDA and their NVLink. Everything they do is a full-on ecosystem.
So why don't you go ahead and make an H100 if it's so easy?
I never said it's easy. I just said
they're a hardware company.
That's purely
they're the definition of a hardware company. Part of hardware is you develop a software instruction set.
Opened up. The market has opened up 2 minutes ago.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, lovely.
Because they're telling me it's growing. They're telling me that pharma's. I'm an M&A expert. I've actually done M&A. You haven't. I've bought lots of.
I've done a lot of M&A deals.
What publicly traded companies have you bought?
Have I
I've done a lot of M&A deals. Now, when you work at a company that has done M&A deals, then you're working at a company that does M&A deals. When you're the CEO, that's different. Yeah, what publicly?
The back end of Fortune 500 companies making acquisitions.
Okay, so you haven't, as a CEO, bought another company.
No, I have not, as a CEO, done that before going to prison. If that's what you're asking.
Okay,
so
guys,
so as somebody that's actually done something in business, what I can tell you is that you need to see, as an investor, the investors want to know what happened to your old business. If you smush together 10 things that are not growing, you're not growing organically. You're growing inorganically, which Wall Street hates.
Yeah, you calling me a quitter? What are you talking about?
You are quitting. Every time I try to get involved with this conversation, you say, I can't.
Because I know people like you, and it's going to take a lot of exhaustion, mental capital, just to even entertain.
You just have to provide one interesting intellectual point. Enzyme optimization? No, not a huge market. I don't know where you can watch it. I guess we can post it. If I had a team, I could post it, but I don't know. It's just going to be one of these things on the internet. Yeah, unboxing. I have a lot of friends. I think that investing isn't about making friends. It's about being right. You know, when I check my P&L at the end of the year, I don't see friends made 17, friends lost 6. No, that's not what I look at. That's not what the IRS cares about either. 3D printing was the same thing as quantum. People thought it was going to be something big. It wasn't. GG. It's really not clear, Connor. I think that what the SEC would tell everybody is that you have to disclose the material facts of the company that are available to you. You get a lot of latitude and judgment as to what's material. But if you're telling investors you're growing, and then you're hiding your growth vis-a-vis inorganic growth, I think that's something the SEC would be very interested in. And say, listen, guys, you got to disclose what it is you're getting from what company. You know, I wouldn't say I have friends at the SEC, but I know dudes at the SEC, and they know Shkreli, and they know too well, and they would be happy to look into IonQ. And because of this, I'm not a snitch. I did 5 years standing tall, 10 toes down, never opened my mouth on anything I saw. But you know what? I might just have to snitch for this one. I might just have to snitch. I'm going to lose my hood pass. I'm going to call up the SEC. You guys want to hear? Maybe you want to hear the call.
Is this regarding a complaint?
Yes, I'm making a complaint. Not a legal lawsuit complaint, but making a complaint, yeah.
Please leave a detailed message, including your name and the best phone number at which to reach you.
No. Shkreli don't play that way. I know a lot of people, bro. I go straight to the top. I ain't filing no tip in some tip hotline. Hood pass has been revoked, unfortunately. Boy, we snitching. Navitas is up 26%. Denison Mines up 7%. Nvidia up 2%. 67 million shares. Tesla flat. Warner Brothers Discovery was up 8%. Applied Digital is flat. Archer's up 8%. Plug Power's up 8%. Bulls on Parade. Rocket Lab up 8%. Intel up 4%. All the Momo stuff is up except for Robinhood, which is down 6%. S&P stuff there. D-Wave, our buddy's down 2%. Circle is up 10%. Hope you're long. Recursion's flat. AMD's up 4%. Ford's up 1%. All the leverage, Ito. All the leverage. Rigetti up 1%. IonQ up 3%. Joby up 8%. Palantir flat. That's the most traded by shares. Let's look at gainers. K-Wave Media is up because they sound like D-Wave. So that's doing great. Navitas, AST Space Mobile. Viasat, Cameco, Nebius, CoreWeave. All up quite a bit. CoreWeave, remarkable. Buy the GPU, plug in the GPU, but it's not a hardware company. Don't call it a hardware company. So that's what's up. What's down? Let's take a look here. Lyra down 21%. Master Beef Avidity is down 10%. I think there might be something going on with this space because Sarepta is also down a lot. Sarepta is down 7% and Avidity is down 10%. So I wonder if it's both companies and their whole situation with the ASOs for Duchenne. Let me see. I'll check into that. I'll ask around. Intuitive Surgical's down a bunch. By value, Tesla's traded the most. Nvidia second most. Circle third. Circle has caught fire. $3 billion has traded hands, as much as Palantir and AMD. A little more than Apple and Amazon and Hood. Meta and Broadcom are next. Then CoreWeave's up 12% on $2 billion in volume. I wonder if that's a top signal. Alphabet, Microsoft, and Strategy. iSurge and Apple are down on $1 billion of volume. UNH as well. Netflix down slightly. Rocket Lab, unbelievable. $1 billion value. I wonder if that's a short. I wonder. Oh, Jesus Christ, Humphrey, you got to average up. Got to average up, dog. Trust your boy on this one. Yeah, the Circle VWAP is kind of, the trouble. Make sure you sign up for Goodell, goodellterminal.com. It's a stock terminal that it's really the only there's only 2 stock terminals that I'm aware of. Ours is going to catch up to Bloomberg really quickly, and we're going to take on Bloomberg. I like Sarepta as a long, SRPT. That's my long. I guess Regenix had some data. I mean, you know, when you see one of your favorite stocks down, you just check into it, see if there's something you're missing. Was there news? Did something change? If not, yes, you can add more.